for now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the
Lord. Peace and blessings, greetings and salutations. This is yours truly, Dan Adams, aka the Soulful Conservative, the DA, and the prosecutor. Coming to you live once again from the Political Heat Remote Studios, aka The Vehicle. It is September 11th. I want to go ahead and just kind of, once again, and it's very hard, and I'm surprised that I'm even doing this because it is very hard and very difficult for myself and for many to relive, to think back, and go through the day that all of us will never forget. But I'm going to go ahead and just break down my day and how it went down. Well, at the time I was working for another company. And I remember that morning just as if it was yesterday. I remember I was late for work. Not too late, but a few minutes late. Bitching and moaning and complaining like I normally do when I'm late for work. Because this was traffic on the parkway, and this is when I drove on the parkway. And at the time, my job was just about 10 minutes away or less from the Pittsburgh International Airport. So I get to work, I start my day, and everything was going as normal can be. And in between doing my work and checking the news online and things of that nature, and I just so happened to see, and I'm not even sure what news outlet it was, but I saw this splash on their screen. Trying to remember the exact wording, but let me just paraphrase here, and it says something to the effect of, reports of a plane hitting one of the Twin Towers. Now, at the time, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was just somebody playing around, one of those type of deals. But then, one of my co-workers in my IT group at the time came out of his office and said, "Hey, did you read what I just read?" And then another co-worker in my group, a couple cubicles down, came out and said, "Hey, Dan, you read that?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And then we all kind of in concert said, "Yeah. Is it that? Wait a minute, is that real?" So, and this is just how it happened. We all got up. We went into our break room. We had a TV in the break room back then. Went into the break room, turned on the television, and within 5 seconds, I think it was on NBC. Yeah, it was NBC. We saw the second plane hit the second tower. I don't know about you, and I can't speak for anyone that was around me, but I was in complete and utter shock. I had to sit down, almost fell over. And then everyone started looking at each other and just in this utter disbelief. So then we hear later about the plane hitting the Pentagon and then the plane landing in Pennsylvania. Now, at this time, we can't work. No one can even gather themselves to even fathom and realize what's going on. So I tried to call my wife at the time, and I couldn't. I don't know what the deal was. I couldn't call her. I don't know what was up. So then I go back to my desk and try to gather myself, and then everyone's at their desks calling people, checking the news, going online, things of that nature. Now, this was 2001, ladies and gentlemen. It's not like today. I mean, the internet was just fresh. We just got over thinking that the world was going to end with Y2K. Now, at the time, my son was only 2.5 years old. And all I could think about was my wife and my son. That's all I could think about. And just think about what in the world just happened. Now, this, ladies and gentlemen, wasn't even, I'm trying to remember exactly, but I believe what had happened was, now, remember I said at the beginning of the broadcast, I was only 10 minutes away from the airport. And I remember this vividly. Planes, I saw 2 planes in the far distance, corner of my window, turn around, ladies and gentlemen, and come back to the airport. So I guess at that point, that's when they were calling planes back to airports. And I seen 2 of them just do a bend and come back. And then at that point, all of these planes started coming back to Pittsburgh International Airport. That's when I knew, oh my gosh, is there something else going to happen here? Is one going to crash into my building? That's what I was thinking. So shortly thereafter, on the intercom system, our CEO of the company at the time said, shut down your computers, get in your cars, and go home. So everyone shut everything down. I got in my car. Usually the ride to work and back takes anywhere between 45 to 50 minutes. It took almost 3 hours to get home. And that was the most terrifying, agonizing 3 hours possibly of my life. Because all I wanted to do was get home to my wife and my son. And I have the news on. I see people in cars crying. I'm crying. And I'm just trying to get home. So then finally I get home. And obviously, even with as tragic as tragedy can be, I don't know about you, but I was glued to the television the rest of the day. As much as it hurt, as much as I couldn't just even still come to the realization of what happened, I had to watch. Now, I don't know about you, but with the subsequent days after, especially the day after, and returning back to work, was absolutely surreal. I remember just being basically on autopilot that day. I mean, there was instances where I had requests coming in to work on a person's computer and didn't even do it. Told the person, I'll see you when I can see you. That's how the day was. And I just wanted to get through it and get back home. So as we realize and find out in the weeks and months later of how these hijackers did what they did, it began a healing for the nation. Patriotism was at an all-time high. Unfortunately, I'd say a year after the first memorial is when the patriotism started to dissipate. And we as a country went back to our normal lives as we knew it before 9/11. We never forgot. We will never forget. But at that time, people just realized that, number one, we kind of knew at that point in time that this was, unfortunately, was going to be the norm across the world in regards to Islamic jihadists, Islamic terrorists taking upon themselves and realizing that their political system, cloaked as a religion, was going to be their crying call in regards to trying to eliminate us, the infidel, by any means necessary. And 9/11 showed that they were willing to hijack airplanes and kill as many people as they possibly could. And indeed, ladies and gentlemen, over 3,000 fellow American citizens, over 3,000 individuals who were just going to work that day, not realizing that it was going to be the last day here on Earth. I still see in my mind as I'm driving and making this particular recording, the individuals flying, and excuse me if I just got to take a minute, but seeing those individuals falling out of those buildings, making a choice, ladies and gentlemen, making a choice whether I'm going to be burned alive or just jump out of this window and end my life this way. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, really? These are the two decisions these people had to make? Die by fire or die by falling out of a building? As you go about your day to day, and as I ask every day when I do these particular broadcasts for the Dan Adams Show, it is September 11th. 16 years later, ladies and gentlemen. And it hits me as if it was September 11th, 2001. I remember shortly after I got laid off from my job. Many people got laid off after 9/11. I remember having that precious time with my son when he was 2.5. I was able to get on unemployment, and as soon as I got over the shock of being laid off, started to look for work, and luckily, ladies and gentlemen, I was able to find a job within 6 months, I believe. So I'm thinking about September, well, a little more than 6 months. October, November, December, January, February, March, April. So 7 to 8 months later, I was able to find the job that I am currently at back in 2002. But that time I had with my son, I will cherish. And unfortunately, with the events that happened after 9/11, allowed me to have that time with my son. I, at this time, want to just send my condolences to all of the families who lost loved ones on September 11th, 2001. I also want to send a statement and an acknowledgement to all the individuals and the hijackers who are now not prancing around with virgins. They're in hell. They're basking in hell, ladies and gentlemen. I want to send a statement and an acknowledgement to the individuals walking around this planet right now who hold those hijackers up as heroes, as martyrs, and could quite possibly be strapping a bomb to themselves, getting ready to enact and inflict pain upon someone somewhere on this planet in the name of Allah. I want to send a shout out, an acknowledgement, and a statement to any of these individuals who deem me as the infidel and want to eliminate me off the face of the earth, that your day is coming. Your day is coming. Whether it's today, tomorrow, your day is coming. I'm just hoping and I'm praying. That's right. I'm hoping and I'm praying that President Trump, Secretary of Defense General Mattis, and all of our military leaders and our brave men and women within the military, I'm praying and I'm hoping that they're doing whatever that was in their power to take out this cancer called radical Islam. Find it, eliminate it, eradicate it by any means necessary. As I stated earlier, with Islam being a political system cloaked and slathered and smothered in a culture that they call a religion. And if I'm offending any Muslim out there, it is not my intent. But we look at it from the outside, looking in, and we look at your, as I'm putting this in air quotes, religion, and again, in air quotes, religion of peace. There's over 1 billion of you walking this planet. Yet, what dominates the headlines? What dominates the news? Who is being put on the forefront in regards to what people think Islam is? Well, when you have Islamic terrorist attacks happening on a daily basis, and those attacks are dominating the news, and you have many within your, in air quotes, religion support these Islamic terrorist attacks, and at least many of you sympathize with these so-called martyrs, then what is it that the outside world is supposed to think, feel, and believe in regards to your so-called religion of peace? When supposedly the majority of you supposedly do not feel this way, but yet are silent. You do not speak out. You do not fight back and combat against these Islamic terrorists. So what, as an individual looking from the outside, and as many of us who are not Muslims, what are we supposed to think? Where are our minds supposed to go? That is the question I pose and will continue to pose to those who are Muslims. When are you going to take over the narrative and let the world know that these radical Islamic, terrorist jihadists do not represent your religion. Because I know as a Christian, I will always clap back and combat against those who warp, distort, and outright lie about my Christian faith. Many of us do it, many of us don't, but a majority of us do. I'm not saying that us Christians do not falter and fail in regards to combating and clapping back against those who will look to distort Christianity. But I know in my heart of hearts, ladies and gentlemen, that we are doing way more, and I mean way more, than what I am seeing from the billions of Muslims walking around on this planet and clapping back, combating against these Islamic terrorist factions. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you go about your day today, I want you to keep in mind, and I want you to just take a minute. Doesn't have to be long. Do it in the privacy of wherever you may be. Just say a prayer for our country. Say a prayer for the families who lost loved ones on September 11, 2001. And pray that our nation, who as of right now is being torn apart, split into pieces because of political correctness, because of the lamestream media and its narrative and being the mouthpiece of the liberal leftist and the Democrat Party in America, where if you in some way, somehow say the truth, speak the truth, and it offends them, then somehow you're labeled racist, Islamophobic, xenophobic, every ist and ick that you can think of. Where we have individuals in our universities and college campuses needing safe spaces, needing counseling because of an individual coming to speak at their said university or college, where racial animosity, race baiting, and the sheer, and I mean sheer utter nonsense being spewed by the leftist, liberal, numbnut, lamestream media and the Democrat Party here in America. That's right, because it's not coming from the right and us conservatives. Making everything about race, about gender, and about identity. They are doing everything within their power to separate, infiltrate, and ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, ultimately, and I hate even saying this, but they are ultimately laying the framework for a civil war. Ladies and gentlemen, may God continue to bless you and yours. May He keep you and your family safe. And once again, I want to send my condolences, my prayers, and my love to all of the families who lost loved ones on 9/11/2001. May God continue to bless you and yours. God bless. Peace.
If tomorrow is our great getting up morning, if tomorrow we have to meet the judgment day, Heavenly Father, we want you to let our folks know that we died facing the enemy. We want them to know that we went down standing up.
Yes, Lord.
Amongst those that are fighting against our oppression. We want them to know, Heavenly Father, that we died for freedom. Amen. We ask these blessings in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.
So inspirational. One time for your mind. Let it be known I'm led by God and never by man. Let it go. First of all, giving thanks to God for giving me the talent to rhyme. Gonna let my light shine for those still left in the darkness. Now let me ignite this ever-burning fire within. Not a fallen fad or a devilish trend. I'm here to mend those broken spirits with all my positive vibes from inside. The past year's loss of life was abundant, but God's wisdom shines bright like a prism. Only one decision left to be made. Live life, wipe away the strife, spirit filled to the gills with this currency that will lead to eternity. Universally is my longevity. Looking at this world in front of me.
You are my inspiration. Gonna spread your love across the nation. Doesn't matter what type of problems that you're going through, I'ma be there for you.
Project kids need shown the way. Trailer park kids need a place to play. Not worrying about hard times, bringing relief written down in these rhymes. We all need space to grow. Let the spirit fill you up from head to toe. Putting things in the proper perspective, uplifting souls, the final objective. I'm gonna do my part and much more. This soulful hip-hop tour, so we can be one nation under a groove. As I show and prove, there's more than life than material things. Let us pray for a better day, so we can live as brothers and sisters. Always know that God is with you.
You are my inspiration. Gonna spread your love across the nation. Doesn't matter what type of problems that you're going through, I'ma be there for you.
Not a politician, I made this political, not the ER. This mission is critical. There's a holy war going on. People using God as a rook or a pawn. Better seek truth. Christ is delivering proof. Never be ashamed, exalt his name. You know and I know there's only one way, so don't delay. These are the words that I manifest. Sick and tired of failing the tests. We all have trials and tribulations. How we react leaves a mark on creation. Setting my course to take the lead. So many souls to feed. Taking this mission to the next level. Now it's time for the chorus to shine. God bless.
You are my inspiration. Gonna spread your love across the nation. Doesn't matter what type of problems that you're going through, I'ma be there for you. You are my inspiration. Gonna spread your love across the nation. Doesn't matter what type of problems that you're going through, I'ma be there for you.
He talked about a certain man who fell among thieves. You remember that a Levite, and the priest passed by on the other side. They didn't stop to help him. Finally, a man of another race came by. He got down from his beast, decided not to be compassionate by proxy, but he got down with him, administered first aid, and helped the man in need Jesus ended up saying this was the good man, this was the great man, because he had the capacity to project the eye into the thou and to be concerned about his brother.
If I said it, I meant it. Bite my tongue for no